Hello everyone, welcome back to our subject web technology. So in the previous class we have seen about JavaScript syntax, the basic syntax, then followed by we have seen the supported data types by the JavaScript. Totally I think there are 6 data types are there, and variable declarations storing values for the variables, and we have seen about JavaScript statements. Three different categories of statements are there. Then we have seen about the operators, JavaScript operators and its precedence. So following that continuation, today we are going to see about JavaScript literals, functions and objects. Okay, these three topics we are going to cover it. So with the function declarations, function expressions, then defining the function which takes the multiple arguments, and then dealing with local and global variables, and finally the objects. Okay, so these are the things we are going to see it in our today's topic. So these concepts are closely related to the programming languages like C, C++ and Java, and it's quite simple topic though. Okay, so let's talk about the literals. So JavaScript literals are nothing but the values for the variables. The what type of value the variable will take. For example, Boolean, the literals are true or false, and for the data type, there is one data type called as a null that has the value called as null itself. Okay, and number literals, so number literals like variable number is equal to 1, variable number is equal to 2.3. So the 1, 2.3, these are all the values for those variables which we are saying as the literals. Okay, so here in JavaScript, literals are of a 64-bit number. Number literal is of 64-bit floating point number, and beyond that range if we store the value means it will be evaluated as the value infinity. Okay, and string literals we can have either single quotation or double quotation. So those are the values for the strings which will be given using the single or double quotations. In programming languages we have seen the string quoted only in double quotation, not in single quotation, is it not? So here in Java we can either have single or double quotations. Okay, so these are something about the literals. And moving back to the important concept called as JavaScript functions. These are the building blocks for the JavaScript. Okay, so function, as you all know, the same concept is applied here in JavaScript also. It is a set of statements that will do some calculation. Okay, so we will be writing set of instructions that can be repeatedly called whenever we need it using the function call. Okay, so these are the building blocks of the JavaScript. Okay, so here is the way or the syntax to declare the function. Okay, so here we need to use the keyword function. Okay, so the keyword is the function and this is the function name, and it may here in this example it doesn't take arguments. So if it takes arguments, we need to pass the arguments which we will be saying as the formal parameters. Okay, so there is here there is no return type for the function in JavaScript. Okay, so inside we are writing the coding for the functions, and the way to call the function is by means of function name, and if it takes arguments we need to pass it, otherwise this as usual the function call. Okay, so this is about function declaration and function call. Let's have more example on that in the next slide. Okay, so declaration always begins with the keyword function, and there is no need to mention the return type, the function name or the identifier, and the statements. Okay, Here taking dealing with the function arguments. Okay, this is an argument, function argument, which takes only one argument. In this example it takes two arguments. As usual, normally what we do in the programming languages, one little thing you need to note here is there is no need to mention the data type for this formal parameter. Okay, it's not necessary. Okay, and then this is the function definition, and here is the function call. Okay, so three different functions I have given with different arguments. This is one argument, two arguments, and three arguments without the data type. Okay, and dealing with the return keyword, the function will usually send the result back to the function call, is it not? So here by means of the return keyword, as like in other programming languages, JavaScript function also utilizes the return keyword. Based on that, I have given an example. Function, the function name which takes one argument, and it compares the data type. Okay, type of is an operator which we have seen in the previous session. So type of, it will return the operator. Okay, it returns the data type of the variable. Okay, so here string, it takes one argument. Let's see what's happening. In the function call, I think we are declaring the variable city is equal to Coimbatore, and we are going to capitalize the first character if not. Okay, so variable capital is equal to, we are calling the function by passing this way variable. Okay, so here this is a double quotation, so definitely city will be of data type string. Okay, so type of string, so string is equal triple equal to strict equality. So it means, so the data type should match. Okay, not only the value. For example, so 5 within the double quotation, double equal to number 5, so there it will match the value. Okay, it won't match about the data type. The first one is a string and the second is a number. So in that case auto conversion will take place in the equality operator. So here triple equal we are giving, that we are saying as a strict equality. So here what it says means, not only having the value, but the value of both the operands should be of similar type, same type. Okay, both should be of string. Okay, so we are comparing string is equal to number. No, this won't execute this if statement. Then this line will be written. Okay, what we are doing, we are fetching the first character of the string, changing it into uppercase, and appending the remaining. And there is a function called as slice. So say this string which we are passing here as Coimbatore, so it will fetch the characters starting from first location onwards. Okay, from O onwards, the end of the string it will fetch it, and that gets concatenated to the first character which is of uppercase. So if we pass a input like this, we will get an output similar to like this. Okay, and here are some of the examples, you please explore it, and of course I'll take you to the Java console to show you how to write a functions. Okay, so go to the browser, Chrome browser, and console, and start typing it. Okay, function name I am passing here as the SQ. Okay, square, then return number into number. That's the definition of square. Enter, and now call the function by passing the single argument. Okay, 12 I am getting it, so 144. So this is how we will be operating it in the console environment. Okay, the browser console environment. So you practice those things, whatever I am giving for extra, whatever I am giving. Okay, you just practice it, these codings. Okay, there are two different ways of having the function declarations. So one which we have seen this part, this syntax we have seen. So like function, then function name, then the arguments may or may not take the arguments, and the block of the function. Okay, so the other way is function expression. So what it will do is there is no need to have the function name. Instead, straight away we will be writing the function code, and whatever the value it returns, that gets stored in this variable capitalize, and that will act as a function to retrieve its value. Okay, so here variable capitalize equal to function. There is no function name as like the thing we have seen in the previous slide. So straight away we are we are passing the arguments, doing the calculations, and returning the result. Whatever the result it returns, that gets stored in this variable capitalize, and later we can utilize the capitalize variable to get the function's return value. Okay, so here you just explore this one in the Google console. Okay, so the same thing, say hi will have this function expression, and see here in the next statement we are calling it using this variable. Now this will act as the function call. Okay, and later of course we could change, since it's a variable, it is acting in different ways. Now here it is acting as a function call here, then later it is changed to a variable of number data type, is it not? So later if you call the function, you can't if you call using this syntax, you can't get it, because we have changed it, this say hi variable to be the number data type. Okay, so these are little things you have to pay more concentration, since you had the knowledge on our previous programming languages. So this will have a little different notations, you need to keep that in mind. Okay, so here is a quiz, you could take it, followed by your practicing session. Okay, so factorials, write a function for finding the factorial of the given number, and one more is function to change the hyphen to underscore, that normally we will be saying as kebab to snake. Okay, kebab to snake, which write a function kebab to snake, it's a function name. Okay, so that function name, what that function, what the functionality of the function is, change, it takes one argument. So if that argument takes the hyphen, means convert that hyphen into underscore. Okay, so replace the hyphen as underscore. So that's the logic behind this program, you just practice it. Okay, and coming to the scope of the variables, I think you already know about the scope in the sense the visibility of the variables. So, okay, so if we place the variable within the function block, means its visibility will, its scope is local. Okay, if we define a variable outside the function, means you can access it not only inside the, not only in the function, but also somewhere else. Other functions also access those variables called as global variables. Okay, so scope, it speaks about the context that code is executed. Okay, you please explore these things. These are the programs which I have explored in the Google console. You please explore it, and we'll be having the simple example based on that local and global variables. Okay, so here variable j is equal to 6, we are defining it outside the function. Okay, so, here is the function declaration. Here before that we are declaring a variable that we are saying as a global variable, and inside we are repeating the same. See here, variable j, is it not the same variable? Now its scope is limited to this block alone within the function definition, or the function declaration. Okay, so here j is equal to 7. So do you think which j gets affected, whether this j will have the variable 7, or whether this j has this value 7? Of course you are right, here j will affect over here. Okay, this j will be changed. Okay, so this j will now hold the value as 7. Okay, and here what we are doing, just calling the function. When we call the function, so what will happen, j will be replaced as 7, and it comes out, it returns nothing, is it not? So next window dot alert, you are calling j. So now which j, which value will be displayed, either the 7 or 6? Okay, so here it will go for calling the global variable, because so this is the local variable, its visibility is only within this definition. Okay, so when it comes out, its visibility is last, and this j will refer to this global variable. Okay, the output is 6, not the 7. Now you will get to know what global and local variables are. Okay, so here what it says, the local declaration shadows the global declaration. Here it means that local variables focus is here in the function definition. Okay, and to access this local variable j, so we need to, I mean here in browser, global variables are stored as properties of the built-in object. So here what it says means, so so to change the global here in this function, here in this block of statement, if we want to access the global variable and need to update its value, means instead of straight away calling j is equal to 7, we need to depend on the depend on the object window dot j is equal to 7. Okay, so now here this j will refer to the global variable, not the local variable. Now the global variable value gets changed, and if we call this the output is changed to 7. Okay, this is the quiz regarding the scope of the variable, and I'll give a minute just to go through it and give me the answer. Okay, then about a higher order function, it means we can pass a function to another function. Okay, so here take a look at this program. So here we are defining the function repeat, and it displays something in the console. I am repeating a function. So this is one function. So see here, one built-in function set interval, we are calling this function on every 1 second. Okay, so this 1000 is in terms of milliseconds we are giving it. Okay, so it keeps on calling it, and we need to the thing gets repeated, we need to stop its execution, is it not? So for that we need to depend on clear interval. Okay, the last id number. Okay, so each and while executing, so it will give one number, you need to specify that number to stop its execution, otherwise it keeps on executing it indefinitely, because we have mentioned keep on repeating this execution on every second. Okay, we didn't mention about the stop condition, we need to stop it using the another function called as clear interval. And talking about the function arguments, as we have seen in the previous topic itself, we have created one random number, is it not, inside the function argument. So that could be either of the arguments could be either the expressions or the object, also you could pass it. Okay, so object will be talking about it more in the later part in this section. Okay, so and dealing about the number mismatch, what it says means, if there is a mismatch between the argument list and the formal parameter list. So formal parameter list, in the sense, in the function definition we will be passing the arguments. Here argument list means while calling the function you will be passing some arguments. What happens if the formal parameter takes 3 arguments, and if you pass only the 2 arguments? In Java programming language, the compiler will throw us an error, is it not? But here in JavaScript it won't throw any error. See, if we pass fewer arguments in the function call, means the remaining formal parameters will be defined as undefined type. Okay, so this won't throw any error. So for example, if it takes 2 arguments, and what happens in the function call, if we pass 3 argument, means the remaining arguments will be simply ignored. Okay, so JavaScript won't throw any errors if we mismatch the number between the arguments in formal parameters and in the function call. Okay, and more about functions. Okay, JavaScript of course supports the recursive function call. I think you will be knowing what a recursive function is. It means a function which calls itself. Okay, so suppose if you have the function add, and within its definition, within its statements, if you call the function add, so that is recursive call. A function which calls by itself is called recursive function call, which is supported in JavaScript. And talking about the explicit type conversions using the built-in functions like boolean, string, number. So what are all those things says? Okay, so we can explicitly convert one type to another type by using these functions. Okay, built-in functions. Here is an example. A variable s equal to some string. This is a string, though the number is 144. It is double quoted. Then it is said to be a string. And you could change this string into a number by explicitly calling this built-in function number. So passing the argument this one, and n will have the number data type, a number value 114 instead of a string. Similarly, you could convert the string to number to a string, and of course boolean also. Okay, so that's it about the functions, and moving on to quick introduction about the objects. Okay, so objects in JavaScript is a set of properties consist of a unique name with a value of with a value of 6 different types of data that is supported in the JavaScript. Okay, so here in JavaScript there is no need to mention the classes as like OOPS language we have studied already about C++ and Java. Okay, there is no need to explicitly mention the class. So instead straight away we can have the object, and for that object we could define the properties and functions, and of course we could add the properties and delete it dynamically. So dynamically in the sense while on the go. Okay, no need to have all its properties while at the creation itself. Okay, so here it says what's the need of a simple introduction about why we need the objects. Okay, so of course the arrays and objects is used to hold the collection of values, is it not? So here I think we haven't introduced about the array. In the next topic we will be discussing in detail about the array. So here for this topic, let's have a little introduction about the array. So variable, person as it is, and the array values are defined using the square bracket and with with its value separated by comma. So here is the string, number and string. Okay, so all types of values are accepted in JavaScript as opposed to other languages we have seen so far. Okay, so here the thing is that to retrieve person's hometown, so hometown is this one, so it is located in the index location 0, 1, 2. As like other programming languages, in JavaScript also the index starts from 0, 0, 1, 2. So person 2, it will retrieve the person's hometown. So if we change the order and if we retrieve the person 2 means it's of here the example given we have changed the order, and if we use this location 2 means we won't get the city, instead we will get some other value as we could say as an age. Okay, so this is not very quite useful. So the order we should not change it in the array. So there comes the concept of using the object. So in object we will be giving it in name value pairs. Okay, so variable person, so within the braces instead of the square bracket this one. So here objects could be defined using the braces. Okay, so end with semicolon and the property its respective value like this. Then we refer a person dot person within two ways are there or referring its values. Okay, that I will take you to the next slide. So simply referring the city means it will always give the city value. What we can change we can bring this city to here, this position, or to this position. It doesn't mean it. So changing the order doesn't confuse the object access. Okay, so whereas in array if we change the order we will get the different output instead of what we have expected. Okay, This is the please pay close attention for handling the objects. So there are different ways of creating the objects. I have given three different ways. Okay, so one is simply making an empty object like this. Okay, so variable person equal to open and close braces, that's it. So it creates an empty object, and later we could add the properties using the dot notation. Okay, so person object, that's nothing but object dot property is equal to values. Okay, and here this is another way of creating the object. Just now we have seen it, that is this this declaration we are saying as an object initialization. It means while declaring the object itself, we are giving the property values. Okay, so that's what we are saying, that as an object initialization. Then the other way of initializing the objects. Okay, so using the built-in object, this is an built-in constructor. Okay, variable person is equal to, we are using the new keyword and the built-in constructor object. Okay, then later you could add it. This is nothing but creating the object property values, and of course dynamically we can delete the properties, one of the properties, using the delete keyword, delete, and the property object property object name dot one of the property names. Okay, that could be, this could delete this property dynamically. Okay, and since enumerating properties, what does it mean? Since we are creating it and deleting it then and there, so the user might be confused at some point of time. So how many objects are there currently in an object? So the user want to know, if he wants to know, he could list out the set of possible values for this object. Okay, the one way of getting the current values, current properties of the object is using this for in statement. Okay, let's have a closer look on this example. We have the variable hash equal to new object. It means we are creating one object and we are giving three properties. Okay, so three properties, and what we need to know. So the user might not be knowing it in the later part of the coding. So how many properties are supported by this object hash? So if he wants to collect all the value, means he can use the for statement. Okay, so this is completely new for you. So since we have seen different syntax for, so here for within the parenthesis variable, one identifier. Okay, this is one identifier. In statement in keyword we need to use it, and the object name. Okay, so in object so in each and every iteration, this object's property will be fetched, and one and it is stored in the variable a name. Okay, and we are displaying the same, and in the next iteration it will be automatically moved to fetch the next property, and that property value gets stored in the variable a name till the end of the property of this object hash. Okay, this is nothing but collecting all possible values of the variables. Okay, that we are saying as an enumeration. Okay, and accessing the properties or retrieving the object properties in two different ways. Okay, so so here array notation, it doesn't speak about the array. Instead it speaks about retrieving the object values. Okay, using array notations. Okay, so we'll be usually storing the objects in terms of key value pairs. It means the property and its values. Okay, and unlike arrays, objects have no order. As I said earlier in the first slide itself, in the introduction of objects, it doesn't follow any orders. You can have you can have the property age followed by name followed by city, or you can have the properties first followed by city, then name, then age. So any order, it doesn't matter. Okay, so how to retrieve the object values? One way is using the array notation and the dot notations we have seen earlier itself. See here, we have one, this is one object. Blindly we could say it because it is enclosed, these property name values are enclosed in these open and close braces. Okay, using the array notation, how you will be accessing it? The object name, within the square bracket, double quotation, the property value. This is nothing but array notation, okay, for accessing the object value. The object within the square bracket, double quotation, the property name. Okay, these are all the property and these are all its respective values. This is array notation, and dot notation as usual, object dot the property name. Okay, two ways are there to retrieve the object's property values. And speaking about the object reference, value of object is referred is reference to another object. So what does it means? So you can copy the one object value to the another object, and changing some content in the another object will also reflect the other object. Okay, so it might be a little confusing. Just take straight away this coding, that will make you clear. Here what you are doing, so you are having the object o1 and having the property o1 dot data as hello, and what we are doing in the in this third line, o1 we are assigning it into o2. Okay, you are declaring a variable o2 who you are referring its value as o1. So it means what? o1 is referred by o2, and if you in the later part, if you change the property of o2, what you are doing, o2 dot data plus equal to, it means concatenation, equal to world. So already o2 dot data is hello, because by means of o1 we could refer this o1 data using o2 because of this line. Okay, you are referring it. Okay, object reference. Then you are appending, you are concatenating the hello with the world. And what you are doing, you are not in the next line, window dot alert o1 dot data instead of o2 dot data. So in o1, if you do, so what's the expected output? So what will be the output, whether it is hello or hello world. So initially o1 will have the hello. So since both the objects are referring the same property, changing this value will reflect to both o1 and o2. Okay, so now if you refer either o1 dot data or o2 dot data, now it is changed to hello world. Okay, so referring one object by the you are referring the object. Okay, so value of one object is copied to, is referred to the another object. So making change in one object will also reflect back in the other object. So that's the concept of object reference. And adding methods to objects. So far we have seen about object properties, is it not? Only these things we have seen, is it not? So this property name has the string, and age has the number, and this property eSchool has the boolean. Apart from that, see here you could have the property as an array also. Here friends is an array. Okay, because it takes, this is the way of handling the arrays in JavaScript. So more about arrays we will be seeing it in the next session. So here this is an array, and here this is the way of adding objects to the the way of adding functions to the objects. Okay, so here it's identified, the function is add colon, and function, there is no function name, just simply the function expression. This function expression is assigned to the property add. Okay, and later part, user when this object will be using that object, you can you can call this function using that property name add, using the dot notation, object dot here it takes 2 arguments. Now you will get back the result as 15. Okay, likewise one more examples, the same thing, I think a different example, I have executed it in the console. You just practice it. Okay, and finally speaking about the object constructor. Okay, As usual, the same concept which we have studied in OOPS language. Constructor is used to initialize the objects. So here straight away we'll go to the coding. Here there is a one function named as a user, which takes one argument, and it has the properties like a name is admin, which is prefixed by this operator. So this is nothing but the same definition which we have seen in the programming language. This is a keyword that refers to the current object. So for we could create n number of objects for the for this function. Okay, so I mean n number of objects. Okay, you could create it for this one. Okay, so this here it says about the current object. Okay, the value of this will become the new object when the new object is created. So it speaks about the current object. You can have more objects, so 1 2 3. We can have objects like object 1 2 3, and each and every object will have its own property name and is admin. So when you call this function user using object 1, it's then object 1's name and is admin will be referred. Okay, when we use the object 2 dot when we call this function using object 2, object 2 has its own name and is admin value. Okay, so this refers to the value for the current object. And see here, the way of creating an object is nothing but as usual, variable user equal to new user and passing this argument. Using the new keyword, we are going to create a new object. Okay, so calling as a constructor rather than as a standard function. Okay, so here this constructor takes one argument. Okay, why constructor? Because the function name here user is same as of here. Okay, and now this user will act as an object. Okay, it's an instance of this function, and you could access its properties using that object. User.name, user.isAdmin. I think here here we are calling the function. Okay, so there is one more function in this function definition itself. Username, it returns this current username, and you are calling it using the object instance, function instance, or you could straight away say as an object dot username. This is the function call. So this will return the username and alert means it will display the value as Jack. Okay, and that's it about the today's topic. So we have seen only the basic part with little difference when compared to other programming languages. Okay, little difference you have to make a note, otherwise the concepts are same. Okay, so that's it, and I'll meet you in the next session with arrays in detail and more about built-in objects and debuggings in JavaScript. Okay, so till then, thank you all.